There you see him on your screen. He's briefing the media following a meeting with AmaZulu King Misuzulu kaZwelithini. Let's take it in on live.
And all issues, we wanted to confirm for ourselves that there is no such a thing. There was no point where the security was withdrawn, and you can see for yourself. It is not withdrawn, it is here, and we will continue to support the Royal House as a whole in ensuring that they continue with their work to the Zulu people.
Now, when is the process, or where is the process about the issue of the recognition of the king? In other words, have you received the minutes from the Royal House? Have you written to Prime Minister? When is the coronation likely to take place, Premier? Do you know?
We are going to handle that together with the Royal House. We are not going to put them under pressure of giving us minutes, but once they have finalized their internal process, they will give us the minutes and the record. And once we get the record, we will then satisfy ourselves of processes followed, and then take the process to the national minister and then to the president for a gazette. And after that, then there will be a coronation of the king.
Did you discuss the issue of the Royal Household budget coming up tomorrow? We are meeting with the king today. Tomorrow is the issue of the Royal House budget. Did you discuss that? But also, what is your response to what Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi has said, the traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation, that the ANC-led government is interfering in the affairs of the Zulu Royal?
Look, I'm here as a Premier, and the ANC government is the government that governs even him, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. He is in KwaZulu-Natal. When we offer services, we must give services to all people, irrespective of which party they belong to. But more importantly, with the Royal House, we need to continue supporting the Royal House as it has been happening. The issue of meddling with the issues, there is nothing that we've done to interfere on issues of the Royal House. We deal with the issues of the Royal House with respect, and whenever there are issues that pertain to the Royal House, you would have noticed it's not us who goes to the media, but we deal with those issues with the Royal House, and we will continue to do so because administratively the Royal House falls under the Premier's office. The issue of the budget is an administrative process that is being done, which already it has been finalized, and we will present it tomorrow. It is in line with the State of the Province address.
The issue of security being withdrawn, allegedly withdrawn, if you can just clarify that one, because there's been so many things said about the withdrawal of the protection unit.
It does appear that there was a communication, not about withdrawal, but there was a communication about the changes in terms of one unit that was assisting His Majesty at that time. And that was said that unit was deployed for a temporal period. It has not been there before during the past king. It has not been there. And then it was added. Then it was going to be withdrawn, and that happened without a consultation with the senior management of the SABC. Then, when it was then raised, we checked and we realized that when the matter was communicated with the management, they took a decision not to even withdraw that unit. But I must say the SABC has always been here, which is the Royal House protection. It has always been here, and in other policies as well. So from that time when the matter was raised, I think it was just a problem of communication within the administration in the SABC, especially at a lower level, but that was clarified.
And also, if you can just clarify this, because there are so many things who are saying this is a king designate. He was nominated as the Premier, the office of the Premier. How do you regard him?
Well, that is not for us. In terms of the tradition There is a tradition and there is an official process. So the tradition, according to what we've been told, in terms of the tradition, it is finalized is a king, but that must then be officiated through a process of a royal house submitting to the government, and then the government process that.
Well, there you have it. That is the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal Sihle Zikalala.
This is the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal. Just you have to forgive us for this. We are taking our mics from the Premier. Well, basically the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, who has just met with the King Designate of AmaZulu Nation, saying that their meetings, his meeting with the King Designate has been amicable, following that those shenanigans that took place here during the reading of the will of Queen Regent Mantombe Dlamini. Last week, as you may recall, that there's been so many things that were said and bandied about, especially with regards to the challenges regarding the successor to the throne from the regent. As you know, that there was this legal challenge by the first wife of the late king, Queen Sibongile Dlamini, who challenged it in court, saying that she also needs to have a role or a hand on who's to become the next king, and also her two children, Princess and Ntombi Yesizwe, as well as Ntando Enkosi, Ntombi Zosuthu and Ntando Enkosi, who were also having another application in court challenging the authenticity of the signature on the will that was written by the Queen Regent, as well as a seal, saying that the late king's signature was allegedly forged. So that's why they took the matter to court. So at the moment, that was what is happening here. What I can also tell you is that there's also the traditional Prime Minister to the Zulu monarch and also the Zulu nation, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who has just entered the Kwakhangela Mankengane Palace here, as well as the public protector who's also here, Busiwe Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, who has also been seen entering the palace here. At the moment, we don't know her business inside the palace or what it is, but we may also find that later on during the day.
Okay, Busi, I just want to be 100% sure. The Premier is briefing us after that meeting with the King. Has it taken place already, correct?
That certificate of recognition is signed and then coronation can take place.
Yes, Blaine, that has also taken place already. We're told that he would be meeting with the King at 9 o'clock, and thereafter, that's why he briefed us now after having finished that meeting with the King.
Right. You mentioned that the public protector is there. You also mentioned that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is there as well. Did they all meet together, or is these are separate meetings?
This seems to be a separate surgeon between the three, among the three, because the Premier initially met with the designate King Misuzulu KwaZwelithini, and after that, or during that session of a private session between the two, we also saw the public protector, Advocate Busisiwe Mkhwebane, also entering the palace. That was during the session of the first meeting between the Premier and the King Designate. During the press briefing that has just been concluded here, we also saw Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi also entering the palace. That is what we have just gathered here. Other than that, there's also legions of media houses that are here to also capture the moment, and also capture the moment of the Premier of the first citizen of the province having a first meeting with the King Designate, King Misuzulu KwaZwelithini. As we had planned, that the Premier will also awaiting the Royal House as to when the process the preparations of the coronation as well as installing will begin. At the moment, the Premier or the Office of the Premier is yet to know the exact date of whether that will happen this month or later on. But at the moment, that's what we can tell you, that there's no date as yet. But the coronation will take place, and the Premier was saying that traditionally, as you heard, that Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi did say that the king is already on the throne, but officially they have to have a coronation so that he can be regarded as such.
Right. Big takeaways from this media briefing, Vusi, with regards to the security issue. When we did come to you live, we just caught that bit with regards to the Premier saying at no point where security for the king withdrawn. Just sum up his answer to you with regards to the security issue.
Yes, Blaine, he was saying that the VIP protection units that was stationed here even before, the king, the late king's, death, that security personnel or detail has always been stationed here, and he was saying that at no time that the VIP protection unit was removed from this palace. He was saying that there was also a temporary. It was only temporary that those policemen were not here. But he was saying that part of the security detail that has always been here, it has never been removed from this palace. But what we can also say is that there were a number of, last week there was that story that broke out that the police were removed from being stationed here for just one day. But what we can tell you is that now at the moment, even at the main entrance, we saw a security detail led by SABC. We saw 4 police members at the main entrance, and also here there are police that are moving around the palace here to ensure that everything is in order. And also the Premier did say that these police personnel will always be here to ensure that there is protection in the palace of KwaKhangela Mankengane.
The Premier did also say that they will continue to support the Royal House as well as they deal with the issues of the Royal House with respect. For those who are not too familiar with how things work in your province, Vusi, talk to us about where the Royal House falls administratively.
Yes, Blaine, as you know that the Premier, the KwaZulu-Natal government regards the monarch as one of the most important institution in the country, because it does play an administrative role, especially with regards to the rural matters or matters that fall under the jurisdiction of AmaKhosi and Izinduna. They normally, from time to time, hear cases and also do administration on those matters, as well as meting out justice to those matters that are regarded or to be or falling under the jurisdiction of Ingonyama Trust. As you know that Ingonyama Trust is also, one of the topical issues in KwaZulu-Natal. But I can say that the institution also plays a very, very important role in terms of also preserving, the culture of AmaZulu nation here in the KwaZulu-Natal. The countrywide AmaZulu nation population is also estimated to be around 11 million people. So KwaZulu-Natal also has got these 8 palaces here in KwaZulu-Natal that are being managed by the Royal Zulu Royal. 8 palaces that will also include KwaKhangela Mankengane, where we are, as well as KwaDlamahlahla, KwaKhetho Mthandayo, Lindu Zulu, as well as others such as in Gwavuma or Emachobeni Plain. As we know that administratively, the Premier of the Office of the Premier also manages the Zulu Royal House, of which that's where also they do budgeting for this office. As we know that tomorrow, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal will also be delivering a budget vote, which also handles financial matters for the royal palaces, because as we know that they have to do the maintenance, they have to do the upgrading of the palaces. As we know that last year the Zulu Royal House also received 71 million rand coming from the office of the Premier in KwaZulu-Natal Plain.
All right, Fosi Kumalo, Tulani Ngobo, live for us in KwaNongoma. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. To another live event, so from KwaZulu-Natal to the northwest we go. The